How y'all doing out there? Welcome everybody, New York Giant Nation. This is your boy Mac the Giants fan coming at you, wanting to welcome everybody to the first episode of Beer and a Story with Mac the Giants fan. Today I'll be sipping on a delicious, juicy, hazy IPA known as Cloud Walker from the Victory Brewery Company, one of my absolute favorite breweries. And I'm just going to kick this episode off. We're going to start off with our first story of the season, which is going to be my best and worst road game experiences. So we'll start off with the best, obviously. I don't want to say the best for last. I'll just end on the worst note. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna start off with the best and get this thing started off on a good note. So the year was 2008, fresh off a Super Bowl victory, October 26th. So a friend of mine, he's a big Steelers fan. So I take a trip up to Pittsburgh for the Steelers Giants game that season. Now, it's about almost close to a 5 hour ride. We wanted to enjoy some of the festivities, so it was a 4 o'clock game. So we still left a little early so we could get up there and have a few hours to just, chop it up and have a good time up there. So we get about halfway up there. We about like a real around outside the Harrisburg area somewhere. We stop and get some gas and use the bathroom and stuff. So he's pumping gas. I go inside to go use the restroom, and boy, oh boy, did I get my first sign that I knew it was going to be an interesting day. I mean, it was a sea, an absolute sea of black and gold. I mean, black and gold everywhere. I mean, I'm like literally the only person in this place wearing the color blue. And that's including the police, the cop that walked up to me and was like, buddy, any other day of the week, I have your back. He said, I can't do nothing for you today, though, man. So I'm like, whew. And people just starting to talk trash to me a little bit. I mean, like I said, it was all lighthearted. It was lighthearted and fun. Nothing disrespectful, nothing crazy, but it was just cool. It was like a good omen for of a signs of good things to come throughout the rest of the day. So, so we get back on the road, get up to the stadium. We'll get up there about noon or so. And we got a few hours before the for the game kicked off, so we want to walk around, chop it up a little bit. I mean, the atmosphere was absolutely amazing, man. Like I can't say enough good things about the city of Pittsburgh and their fans and those people up there. It was a great atmosphere. We walking around, we chopping it up. You know what I mean? We got invited to like 3 random tailgate parties, like people we didn't even know. They were just inviting us out. You know what I mean? And it was cool because like it just showed like okay, it don't even matter that you here cheering for the other team. We still want to party with you, kick it with you. You know what I mean? I respect that. I appreciate that from people. So we getting closer to game time, and it's getting starting to get a little heated. Like wow, like these are like at the time, if anybody don't recall, the Giants and Steelers probably at this current time of this game were probably the two best teams in the league that season at this current time of the game at this current time when this game played. We were looking at potentially a Super Bowl preview. So since we had still a little bit of time, we just like I said, walking around, chilling. We get into the stadium, and then it's like we finally get into the stadium, and it was like absolute just this like what you see on TV when you see like a Pittsburgh Steelers game on TV at Heinz Field, forget it. That's nothing. You got to actually be there in that stadium in that moment. The electricity, the energy, it's just crazy. Them people get those terrible towels whipping around, and it ain't like it's no joke, man. Like it's for real. Like what you see on TV does not do it justice. You have to actually be there and witness it and see how these people ride or how these people ride for the Steelers up there. Like it is like no joke. Like I couldn't believe how crazy it was. But now I'll get to the game a little bit. You know what I mean? Honestly, it's not like it was some kind of all time great historic game. What it was a typical game that you'll get between two good teams. You know what I mean? It was a grinded out kind of like whoever get the ball last is going to end up probably winning this thing, which is exactly what ended up happening. I mean, I remember Big Ben, he struggled. He had probably one of his worst games of his career, a game he'll never want to remember. I mean, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, He threw like about 4 picks, definitely at least 3, but I'm pretty sure he threw like about 4. It was pretty. He had a pretty rough day. It was pretty awful. And then on top of that, when it rains, it pours in the NFL sometimes. And I mean, the Steelers lost their long snapper during this game, and obviously no one suits up a backup long snapper. So they threw James Harrison out there. That did not go well for them. I mean, he was an all-pro linebacker, but he definitely never needs to do a long snapping try long snapping ever again because it was bad. I mean, all he did was snap the ball over the punter's head and pretty much gave us 2 points. And thank you, James Harrison, for that because we kind of needed him. I mean, but also the Giants struggled all day too. You know what I mean? It wasn't like it was a tough day for them offensively as well. I mean, there was no standout offensive players on the Giants that day. I mean, our kicker was the MVP of the game. I believe that was John Carney. He had 4 field goals on the day. It was just that's the kind of game it was. I mean, ultimately we got the win. Like I said, last team with the football. We got the win 21-14 off a game-winning touchdown pass from Eli to Kevin Boss. Yeah, another one of those tight ends that day, Kevin Boss. But but once again, like I said, the Steeler fans, man, like what made this day so awesome is because even in defeat, walking out the stadium, man, I was getting high fives from Giant and Steeler fans alike, man. No sore losers there, man. They just showed love, you know what I mean? Like, and maybe it's because there was that feeling of they knew they were a good football team. They knew we were a good football team, and it was that possibility that we might see each other again late in the season in that big one. You know what I mean? And that big one, and unfortunately, that didn't happen. We'll get into that in a few minutes. But so we pretty much got back to the car, ended the evening, sitting up. We was up on top of the parking garage roof outside the stadium, obviously chilling for a little bit. We wasn't just gonna drive down into all that just ridiculous traffic, you know what I mean? So we was like, we'll just sit here and chill for a minute, hang out for a little bit. We sitting up here looking at the beautiful Pittsburgh skyline, looking across the complex sports complex at PNC Stadium, which is PNC Park, which is the home of the Pittsburgh Pirates. You know what I mean? Beautiful, beautiful baseball park, by the way. If nobody's ever seen, that's a very nice looking facility. But that's pretty much how that night ended. You know what I mean? Other than the long ass ride back to Delaware, which was even longer for my boy, since I was talking shit to him the whole way for us beating the Steelers. But unfortunately, the 2008 season didn't end so well for us. However, as y'all know, a few weeks later, Plaxico Burress would enter a nightclub with a loaded handgun and shoot himself and pretty much put out our dreams of going back to back and winning a Super Bowl, because even though one player shouldn't matter that much when you were as good as we were that year, he was a pretty important player, and he's not the kind of player you can just replace late in the season, you know. So it just didn't work out. And unfortunately for the Steelers, it worked out for the Steelers. They ended up going to the Super Bowl and winning it. And one of the great Super Bowls of all time, as a matter of fact. Unfortunately, they weren't playing against us. They were playing against the Cardinals. So, you know, overall, though, what I feel like what made that truly my best road game experience was just the atmosphere alone, and how nice everybody was, how respectful everybody. Like I said, I'm a big respect guy, and everybody was respectful that day. It's one thing, lighthearted, razzing around a little bit, talk a little trash, but overall, everybody up there was like, it was like a great blue collar town, you know what I mean? Blue collar town, great football town, great fans, great atmosphere, just felt the energy, felt the love all day, and I would love to get back up to Pittsburgh for another game up there sometime. You know what I mean? And it could happen. I mean, I'm not going to guarantee I'm going to go up there for another game, but it depends. It would probably depend on a couple of different things. It would be the time of the year and just maybe a situation of like whatever, if it's an important enough game to make me want to take another 5-hour drive to Pittsburgh. So now we're getting ready to cross over into chapter 2 of Beer and a Story with Mac the Giants fan. And I need another couple of sips for this one, because it's time to get to the worst experience. This one wasn't that long ago, actually. The year was 2017. The date was September 24th. So me and my couple friends of mine Took a very common road trip to this one. This was a common road trip. Obviously, you know I'm from Wilmington, Delaware. So I think y'all know I was pretty much headed to the link. And first off, I immediately woke up that morning and just had bad vibes because it's late September and it was like 90 something degrees outside, like historically hot, like intense, ridiculous heat. Uncomfortable kind of weather, you know what I mean? But we had tickets to the game and there wasn't nothing stopping us from going to the damn game. So we go up to the game, we get up there, we underestimated traffic a little bit. So we got there a little bit late. No big deal, because we wasn't getting up there, going up there trying to worry about tailgating at the link. That's something we've done a million times with being this close. You know what I mean? We've done that 1,000 times. So, got there a little late, and by the time we parked and got into the stadium, you know what I mean, we had missed most of the first quarter. Was that a big deal? Nah, it didn't mean nothing, because the first quarter, literally nothing happened, because maybe because of the weather, maybe it was just the weather was so uncomfortable that the players on both teams got off to a really, really sluggish start. Just so the first quarter was nothing to miss. No big deal. This is only week 3 in the regular season, though, and we were already 0-2. This was a desperation game for us to get a W. And the writing had looked like it was on the wall anyway, because even the first 2 games we lost, I can't even remember who we played against, but they were just bad losses, and we just didn't look like a good football team, a team that was headed anywhere good this year in that particular season, which ended up being very true. But so I'm sitting there in the sun watching failed drive after failed drive, absolutely baking in this Philadelphia sun, man. Like, it was just so frustrating. I just remember getting so frustrated because we're just literally doing nothing. And so the Eagles eventually did build up a 14-point lead on us, you know what I mean? And it was late in the third quarter, and I just finally had enough. I normally don't do things like this because I love this team. However, I was frustrated with the day, and I was over the day. I was like, you know what, I'm going up to the concourse and at least be able to feel some air conditioning because it was just so damn hot. So, I'm up on the concourse, and at the time I was a cigarette smoker. And I'm definitely needed a couple at that point. So I'm sitting there smoking a cigarette, walking all around the concourse, looking everywhere for a bottle of water because, I just needed to get hydrated. This is where I nearly lost it. This big old NFL stadium. Now, mind you, I'll give them the one thing that they might have been caught off guard with the weather being excessively hotter than normal for a late September day up here in the Northeast. But this stadium literally ran out of water. Out of bottled water. Like, there was no bottled water to purchase. I couldn't drink any more beer or alcohol at this point because it was just too damn hot. I would have passed out if I drank any more beer. So, you know what I mean? I'm sitting up there on the concourse and I'm listening to the game, and I hear this early in the fourth quarter. We was driving the football. I can obviously still hear the game. So, we get in the end zone. Odell Beckham scores a touchdown. I'm like, okay, well, at least we're not going to get shut out. You know what I mean? But I'm not thinking after what I had sat out there and watched that it was going to matter. That was just one score, and that was probably going to be it. But I still said to myself, I'm a fan, and we're only down by one score, so I'm going to get back into my seat because just in case. But before I did that, I had to go use the restroom. This is where I think you think nothing else could go wrong, right? Well, because I'm assuming, lines at stadium restrooms are pretty long. You got to wait a little while. But I'm figuring it's still enough time to get in there while just the Eagles have the ball. And then I'll get back out by the time we get the ball back, hopefully. Well, we got the ball back pretty damn quick. I believe the Eagles must have went on a 3-and-out or something. We got the ball back quick while I'm still in the bathroom. And not only did that just happen while I'm still in the bathroom, we drove down the field fast as hell. And while I'm literally standing in front of the urinal getting ready to do my business, all I hear is, touchdown Giants. Odell Beckham for the second time in 3 minutes. The second time in 3 minutes scores another touchdown. So, okay, I'm just like, you kidding me? I done sat out here for 3 quarters and watched that game. I mean, sweating buckets out there for 3 quarters watching that game and watching us do nothing. And I come up on this concourse with some air conditioning, and all of a sudden I'm missing an offensive explosion by my team. Okay, so be it. That's on me because I'm the one who walked out the stadium. Nobody forced me to. So be it. So I get back into my seat just in the nick of time. I tell you what, because we got the ball back quick again. And little do I know, here's Sterling Shepard taking a slant from Eli Manning and going 77 yards to the house. So, I mean, I'm glad I got to make it back in for that because that was an amazing play, by the way. Sterling Shepard had a huge game that day. Matter of fact, Sterling Shepard, I'm going to go on record, like that season against the Eagles, and 2 games against the Eagles, he took it to him. Like, they had no answer for Sterling Shepard that season for some reason. I don't know why he doesn't seem to have that same kind of success against them anymore because they literally have like the same coaching staff. So I'm not sure why he can't seem to find that same success anymore against this secondary because he tore their behinds up not only in this game, but he tore them up the second time we played them later on in that season. I know that has nothing to do with this story, but I'm just throwing that out there. Sterling Shepard had an amazing season against the Eagles that year, at least. But that would actually give us the Giants a lead. We were up 21-14. Like we went into the fourth quarter down 14-0. Now all of a sudden we're like halfway through the fourth quarter and it's 21-14. Like what's going on? I'm like, I don't even know how this happened, but I'm like pretty excited. I'm thinking we're going to beat the Eagles in Philly, which is one of my favorite things to do as a Giant fan. And that was very short-lived as the Eagles would go right downfield very quickly and tie the game up. It was like a minute and a half drive right down the field and tied the game right up with a touchdown. So, okay, still not the end of the world, you know what I mean? For the most part, the Eagles had dominated most of the game except for this fourth quarter. The Giants absolutely dominated the fourth quarter. But then actually Aldrick Rosas would kick a go-ahead field goal with 3 minutes left to go on the clock. 3 minutes. So you thinking, sounds good, right? Yeah, and I'm jumping up. I'm in the stands, wilding out. I'm clapping back at all these crazy people that was talking trash to me all day long, all around me. All I'm sitting there silent, stunned, don't know what to say, ain't got a damn thing to say. And I'm talking trash, talking greasy to him. I was giving it to him, bro. Giving it to him. Well, needless to say, that was premature. Because we know what happened in the final 3 minutes of that game, right? The Eagles would kick 2 field goals, including the 61-yard game winner with time expiring. And the worst part of that was that my friends and I were sitting in the first level end zone, and our seats were right at that same end zone that the field goal got kicked. So I had to actually have a bird's eye view of that football barely getting over the crossbar. And we know how the rest of the season went. It went very bad for us because we only managed 3 wins that season. We finished 3-13 while we had to watch the Eagles. We had to watch confetti fall on the Eagles as they won Super Bowl 52. Yeah, that was just like the typical perfect way, right? That means not only is my worst away game experience in this season, the Eagles also won the Super Bowl at the end of that season. So what made, like I said, pretty much, I'm honestly going to go on a limb. The main thing that made this my worst road game experience was just how ugly the game started, how obnoxious the Eagle fans can be. And the damn Mother Nature, man, she did us no favors. A late September game, I'm not saying it should be cold, but damn. It should be a little, you know what I mean, a little breeze coming through the stadium or something, you know what I mean? It was like do the right thing hot. At one point, I thought I stood up and I yelled, radio! You know what I mean? Like Radio Raheem did in the movie because like Spike Lee did in the movie. Like when Radio Raheem got killed, it was like that legit. It was like that crazy. Like it was so hot. It was so hot and it was so uncomfortable. I had to go home. When I got home, I had to immediately take a shower because I was so sweaty and grimy and nasty. I felt gross. So, you know what I mean? I hope y'all enjoy this edition of Beer and a Story with Mac the Giants fan. And I'll be coming back at y'all real soon with another edition. And if you did enjoy this, I'll please hope you go hit that subscribe button, hit those likes, ring that bell so that you know when I'm dropping new content. I really appreciate any love you can show. Please go hit the subscribe button, hit them likes. I promise you to keep bringing that bringing good solid content to y'all. I just need some love to get this thing going, man. And we're going to just keep pushing all the way through, baby. Just keep helping me out. Keep showing me the support, and I'm going to keep showing y'all love with all this, dropping all this great content. So once again, you're watching Beer and a Story with Mac the Giants Fan, Episode 1, my best and worst role game experiences. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button. Please. And I'll see you next time out there in Giantsville. And one more sip for you.